Good afternoon, everyone. Uh, myself Preeti, and now I'm going to discuss about the management information system. In this section, now we are going to discuss about few things. That is, this topic now it contains what is the system analysis and what is system design. And in this topic now we are going to discuss about the introduction, basic introduction of these two stages. So these two stages are very important in the software development life cycle, which is a software system analysis and system design. System analysis is a process of collecting and analyzing the requirements of the system, whereas the system design is a process of creating the design for the system to meet the requirements. Both are the important stages as it helps to create an effective system with all the features and functions. What it is saying, it is the combination of both which are very important in the software development life cycle. In the software analysis, it is going to collect and collected data will be analyzed, and in the system design it is going to create the design. So these are the two pillars of the software development life cycle. Later on we'll discuss about the remaining stages of the software development life cycle. So as of now, as our topic is the first section, and now we are going to concentrate on the system analysis and system design. So remember, we are going to discuss about these two particular topics or particular stages in this section. In this section, what we understood, the system analysis, which is required for collecting and analysis of the requirements, and whereas the system design, it is going to create the design of the particular system to meet the requirements. In the first stage, it is going to collect the data, and that data will be analyzed, and in the second stage it is going to create the design. So as of now, it is clear now. Again, we are, as I told you initially, we are going to discuss about two stages only, that whereas we are going to discuss remaining stages, and we are having 6 phases. That is, in the software development life cycle, now we are having 6 phases, that is analysis, design, development, testing, deployment and maintenance. So initial stage we discussed. In the initial stage we are going to collect the data, and that data will be analyzed, and after that now we are going to create the design of the particular system to meet the requirements. After all, once we finish the development phase, now we'll go to the development. So design phase is done, means we'll go to the development phase. After the development, now we are going to test. So testing phase, now we are going to identify the errors which are involved in the design. So this is very important one. In this stage we are going to test whether our required development is satisfying or is there any errors in the software development life cycle. So later on, once the testing phase is completed, then we'll go to the deployment. So once once the testing phase satisfies all the requirements, if no errors are found in the testing phase, then only it goes to the deployment phase, and after that now we will move to the maintenance phase. If the deployment is successful, then only we will go to the maintenance phase. Total how many phases we are having? 6 phases, that is analysis, and second one is a design, and third one is a development, and fourth one is a testing, and fifth one is a deployment, and sixth one is a maintenance. So as we discussed earlier, it is the first stage of the system software development life cycle. So initial stage or first stage we can say as our wish. So first stage or initial stage, we start our software development life cycle is the analysis phase. In this process we break the system down into individual components and understand how each component interacts with the other components. So initial phase, this is the first step. In the initial, now we are going to divide, or we are going to break the system into individual components, and that after that now we'll understand how each component interacts with the other component. So to accomplish the system overall goal, it is required. So initially it is doing, it is what it is doing ma, it is breaking down the system into individual components, and that components after that now we are going to understand how each component interacts with the other component. So after this is the overall goal of the system. So in this process now the analyst collects the requirements of the system and documents them. So after this, once that is we understood, after we understood the requirement now, they analyze what it is, what they are doing ma, they collect, they will document that particular requirements. Okay. So again we are going to discuss about the characteristics of the software life this phase. So it is a study of the existing system to identify the problem area. So what are the characteristics in the system analysis and system design? First step we are going to discuss our first characteristic in this section. It is going to identify the problem area. So once we identify the problem area, then only we can understand the system requirements and its environment. So first we identify the problem area, and then we'll understand the system requirements. After that we'll understand the user requirements as well. Here what it is saying ma, what are the characteristics involved in it? First initial characteristic or first characteristic is so identifying the problem area, and then understand the system requirements, and then it involves a gathering and understanding of the user requirements as well. So it is concentrating both the system requirement and the user requirement. Also it involves analyzing the system. So analyzing means now we are discussing about the system analysis. So this is now after getting the clear idea about the system requirements and the user requirements, it is going to analyze the system in terms and its current and future needs. Oh, it is correct na. Initially it is identifying the problem area, and it is going next na, then it is going to understand the what are the system requirements and its environment. After that it is not going, it is also going to concentrate on the user requirements also. So after that na, it is going to analyze the system in terms of current and future needs. So what are the advantages and limitations? See, every task, every system, every software, everything have its own merits and demerits. Like how in the software analysis also we have some merits and some failures also. What are the merits and what are the limitations or failures we are going to discuss in this session. So you can see this slide now. Here the advantages are we are identifying the problem and its causes. So initially what are the identifying in problem area, initially what are the characteristics in the characteristics, the first step is we are identifying the problem area. So that is an advantage. So identification of the problems and the causes also will help us to solve the solution within or as much as possible within that time. Okay, so this is the one advantage, and it helps to understand both the functional and non-functional requirements of the system. So what it after that, after identifying the problem, it helps us to understand both the functional and non-functional requirements of the system. So it helps us develop better solution. So once we have that idea, or we understood that what are the requirements, functional requirements, and what are the non-functional requirements of the particular system, we can easily develop a better solution. So after that now it helps identify the area of implementation. So we identify better to give better application, we have to identify the area of improvement where we have to put extra effort, where the solution exact problem is there, why it is coming like that. Then only will give some will get some better solution. You know that na. So without identifying the problem we cannot give solution. So that is also one of the advantage. And now we are going to discuss about the disadvantages or limitations of failures. So in this session so what are, it is a time consuming, it is taking lot of time to find the problem and the causes and functional requirements, and then where we have to improve it is taking time consuming. And it is obviously time consuming means one day we can the work, it may take 2 days, or the time it will take much time now, then the cost also will be increased, and difficult to get accurate information. So cost is time consuming, it is costly, and to get the accurate information it is very difficult for the developer to get the accurate information. So now we are going to the second topic, that is a system design. What is system design ma? In the starting of the session I discussed about the system design, that is which is used to create a design for the system to meet the requirements. It is used to create the design only na, for the system to meet according to the requirements, it is going to create the design. So this is the second stage of the software development life cycle, and it is used to design the architecture, components, modules, interfaces and data for the system to satisfy the specific requirements. It is not going to deal with all the requirements. So according to the specific requirements it is going to design, or it is going to concentrate. Okay, it involves the design of the system architecture, components, modules, interfaces and the data also. So earlier also we discussed about the characteristics for system analysis. Now in this slide we are going to discuss about the characteristics of system design. What is the first stage ma? It is going to create for the design. It is used to create the design, and it involves in the design phase na, it involves system architecture, components, modules and interfaces and data. So after that it involves to modify the modules and components of the system. So what it is saying, after the required design is done, it identify the modules and components of the system, and then creating the user interface and data design. What it is doing, creating a design for the system, and then it will design or system architecture. After that it is going to identify the modules and components, and then after that it is going to create the user interfaces and data design. These are the characteristics involved in the system design. So earlier, as this system design also has some advantages and limitations as well. So what are those we are going to discuss in this. First one, it is create an efficient system, and it identifies the area of improvement. It creates efficient system, and it identifies the area of improvement. It reduces the development cost. So it is going to reduce the development cost, and it create a better user experience. If the architecture is clear, means obviously the user experience will be better only now. So that is how it is creating an effective system, and it identifies the area which we have to improve. If the area we found now, that area it will improve. So it after that it reduces the development cost also. It creates a better user experience. Like that, we are having some limitations. As we discussed, it is also a time consuming one, and it is also costly, and it can be difficult to get the accurate information.
So, after discussing about the system analysis and system design individually, now we are picking some differences between these two. What are the differences, ma? Few differences I mentioned here. In the purpose, ma, these are the factors we can find some differences. In purpose, what is the purpose of system analysis? It is going to collect and analyze the data. For in the system designer, it is going to create the design. That is one purpose. In the purpose, we can get the difference. In the approach, it is following top down approach, and in the top down means analyst looks at the bigger picture first and dwell into the details. Only the developer who is going to concentrate on the initially at the bigger picture, and then he is going to dwell into the details. Here now in the system design, it is following bottom up approach, whereas like in this now he is going into details and then he is moving to the bigger picture. So here approach is also different. And coming to the third one, we can get some difference in scope also. How we will discuss focuses on the needs of the user. This one is particularly focusing on the needs of the user, but in the system design, it is going to focus on the design of the system. Here what we observed up to now, ma, in the purpose na system analysis is for gathering and analyzing the information, and the system design, it is going to concentrate on the creating the design. What are the approaches it is following, ma? It is following the top down approach and it is following bottom up approach. And what is the scope, ma? It is going to focus on the needs of the user, and it is going to, in the system design, it is going to concentrate on the design of the system. So the fourth one is output. Output means it is going to analyze it produces the required document that describes the desired system. So what are the it is going to document that the desired system. Okay, now it is going to produce the required document that describes the desired system. Okay, in the system designer, it is going to concentrate on the architecture and components of the system will be documented. So here it is going to document the requirements of the document, so requirements of the desired system, and it in the system designer, it is going to concentrate on the components of the system, architecture and components of the system. And the fifth one is the time. What is time means? It one time process. System analysis is it is a one time process that is done in the beginning of the process only. Okay, in the system design, it is an ongoing process. So throughout the project we can use this system design. Wherever we need that, then modifications we have can be done, it can be designed throughout the project. In the time now, it is a one time process, and in the system design, it is an ongoing process. And what is the methodology? So methodology is nothing but it is following waterfall model. So once it or the agile methodology. So both it is following waterfall model and the agile model. Means waterfall model means once the first module or first stage is satisfied, then only it will go to the second stage. If first stage is not executed or not properly done, it is not going to concentrate on second one. So it is like a water falling from the top side, it is going to satisfy one stage after one. So it is in the system design, it is going to follow the spiral model. So these are the basic differences, and the tools which are used is a system So in with the help of interviews, surveys or questionnaires, we can analyze, we can use that observations. Okay, now we can analyze the data. So we can gather the data and that data can be analyzed. So in the system design now, the data flow diagrams are object oriented diagrams, so only we can use with the help of data flow diagrams or object oriented diagrams. So again continuation with the difference in the process also we can see some differences. In analysis, the first step is the first step, and in design it comes under the second step. So what is the goal of this particular and system analysis? It is going to analyze and identify the user requirements. So here now in the system design, it is going to support the business requirements or business processes. What is the risk involved in this, ma'am? It involves minimal risk only. In analysis na, it will get only minimal risk, but in the system design na, it is not meet, if the design is not properly done means it will not be, there will be a significant risk. In this analysis phase, in analysis phase na, we will get only minimal risk, but in the design phase na, we will get a significant risk. So what is the problem solving na? It focuses on the problem identification. So analysis na, it is going to focus on the problem identification. In the design phases na, problem solving or finding the solution. So initially what are the problems identified, that is going to solved in the design phase. So what is the conclusion ma, after learning all these things? What is the conclusion ma? These are the two important stages of the software development life cycle, and analysis is used to collect and analyze the requirements, and design phase is used to create the design, and analysis helps to identify the problems and their causes, while a system design is to create an efficient system, but both are necessary to create the effective system in all the aspects of the features and functions. Thank you.